Hey, everybody. How are you guys? I hope you're doing well. Okay, so tonight is our fifth duplicate training, and we're going to be talking about belief and fears and mindset. So this is kind of a really big topic, but there's honestly not a ton to train on because it's really just something that you have to kind of dig deep and work on personally. So I'm going to keep this pretty short and sweet and to the point and kind of give you some things to think about and some challenges to kind of do as far as personal development and stuff like that. And so this week's going to be a little shorter on the teaching and maybe a little heavier on spending time kind of thinking through some of these things because there's really nothing that I can say that's going to change your belief, right? That's something that's really personal, that's really deep, that kind of has a lot of different layers to it. And so I'm not going to say anything today that's going to be like, whoa, that really just changed my life and my entire belief about this business or my abilities or my leadership or anything. But it could help you kind of facilitate you getting in and kind of digging around in yourself and figuring out some things that you could do to better lead and serve your team by kind of figuring out your own fears and belief and mindset issues that you might have. So we all have them. So I feel like I've said over and over, one of the things that I feel like I keep writing as I'm doing this is like how simple this is, right? And we want to keep it simple. In fact, I kind of switched things around because tonight I was supposed to be training on simple startup, and I felt like, let's skip that and come on and move to this. But I keep saying it's simple. It's a simple thing, but there are things about it that are difficult, right? So this business is simple. However, that doesn't mean that it's easy, right? So it's a simple system, but if you don't have belief in it, you're not going to be successful. Okay. So you have to have belief in the company, in the business model, in the products, and mainly in yourself, right? Those aren't necessarily things that I can teach you about. You guys already know about this company. That's an easy one, right? It's the number one skincare brand in the North America. So, I mean, that's easy to kind of be like, well, that's a no-brainer. This is a great company to hitch your wagon to, right? That is an easy one. The business model, that one's a little bit tougher because there's so many questions and people who have differing opinions about it. And the other day, someone sent me an article. It wasn't about Rodan and Fields. It was about oils and pyramid schemes and network marketing and all this. And, I read that article and it kind of stung. And, but at the same time, I let it sting for the 10 seconds I was reading it and then moved on. And even another girl who was on our team, actually, she messaged me, she's like, what do you think about this article? What do you even say about stuff like this? And I was like, you know what I say? Nothing. Because that doesn't, a lot of times it's not even founded in anything true. And so, but you have to have belief in what we're doing in our company and knowing that this is an excellent business model, right? It was funny, this article that I read, some of y'all may have read it too, it was saying all these things and I was like, no, that's what corporate America does, where the person at the top makes all the money and everyone else is just down below scrambling to get by. Because I'm case in point that, the person above me, I make more than her, so it's not that way. But there are those misconceptions. So you have to have belief in this business model that it is working and healthy and viable business. So also in the brand, obviously that kind of goes with the company. We have an incredible brand and incredible doctors who back our brand, but mainly belief in yourself. If you don't have 100% belief in yourself and knowing that this is something that you can do, that you deserve, that you can excel in, or even thinking that you're worth it or have the ability, or gosh, this is so outside of my comfort zone, you have to have belief in yourself. So all these things take time and practice, and honestly developing a little bit of a thick skin, as far as, gosh, rejection that comes with that, insecurity that comes with that, fear that comes with that. So it takes a little time to sort of develop that skin. In fact, the girl who had sent me that article the other day, she said, I just need to develop a thicker skin because this really shook me and rattled me. And I was like, I just think that comes with time. The first few months I was in business, I would have been really offended if I read something like that. And I actually remember I sent a prospect to somebody in Canada, and they replied instantly back, I'm not sure that Christians should do network marketing and all this stuff. And I was so hurt and offended, but I wasn't even sure that I was doing network marketing. That's how like out of it I was. But once I did realize, oh, he thinks that what I'm doing isn't, Christians shouldn't do this? Like, what in the world? And I had to really wrestle through that. But I think the process of that helped me develop my personal belief and also develop a little thicker skin where you're able to kind of handle some of those things that come our way in the business. So you have to have an unshakable belief, okay? 100% belief. And that just takes a little time and a little practice. And it takes a few knocks. It takes a few hard questions. It takes a few people questioning what you're doing. It takes yourself even, getting really down and dirty with yourself as far as your belief and your ability to do it. So let's see. We're going to talk about personal development. Okay, because I think that is really the way that you are able to dig deep and are able to change your self-talk and change the way that you perceive yourself in the business is really by doing personal development. I remember there was a call years and years ago that Chris Fairless did. And it was, I think the call was titled like the top 5 things to get you, top 10 things to get you off to a fast start, or, best things to do to get your business going or whatever. And it was one of those recorded talks that for years, I always made new people on the team listen to. It's gone now, but she said the basic things, right? So she said, make your list and have your BBL and, talk to people, develop your story, know your why. So it's kind of the basics, right? And I remember like the 9th thing that she said was spend time on personal development every day. And I was like, what? That seems like such a weird thing for me to do, to have this business, is spend time on personal development. And it was kind of funny because I was like, oh, I do that. Like as a believer, I'm like, well, I spend time on personal development. That's my quiet time, but then the more I kept hearing about this, I was like, I don't think that's what they're talking about. This is more like personal development, things that you will help equip you for your business, right? So I kept hearing this, and it pops up every now and then. And I will say it is something that I have done more now. It's not something I do daily. I mean, I'm no superwoman, right? Who has time to do it daily? I'm not quite sure, but people say they do. So maybe we'll all get there someday. But it is something that I have. I always try to have a book that I'm reading that is something to do with, everybody knows that Get Over Your Damn Self. That one is great. I have that one on my Kindle, and I can't tell you the number of times that I flip to it, reread things. There's a few other ones that I've read. Tribes is a really good one. There's some that are about building teams, but all these things, you could read Sarah Robbins' book. I'm sure that that's good. I haven't read it, but there are plenty of these kind of, personal development tools that are out there. It might be listening to a TED Talk. It might be listening to some podcast about leadership. But what these things do is they help reinforce, like, you can do this. Here, way it equips you. It helps change the way that you are thinking in your mind, and gives you kind of just like a boost. Every time I read a chapter or go back and I envision myself as this leader in this book, and I hear these words of encouragement or of follow up or of not giving up. And that is important for me to hear, because you know what else I hear? I hear all the negative stuff all the time. And so I have to kind of battle against that with the positive and challenging and growing parts of this business. I don't know about y'all, but for me, this business has challenged me and developed me in ways that I never saw coming. I mean, the day I would have sat and done a live video conference on computer, it wouldn't have happened. Forget it. So it's incredible the way that it has challenged my leadership and challenged who I am and what I think about myself and what I think about what other people think about me. Like all these things that like you really never think are going to come out of having a Radiant and Fields business have really been challenged. And I think that part of the good and the bad of that is that I have to continue to feed the positive part of that in me. I have to continue to feed the developing my leadership and who I am and how I want to lead and how I want to portray myself and develop myself. And all of that comes out because people notice your posture and they notice your self-talk. So self-talk is an interesting thing because I do feel like it's real easy to do the self-talk in all the negative ways, right? Kind of like, oh, I'm no good at this, or nobody would ever want to listen to this, or what do I know, or what do I have to offer, or how am I equipped to train someone else? Like how am I equipped to sit here and lead these, weekly meetings for 6 weeks? Those are lies and they can do damage. What am I saying to myself? What am I saying to myself that's going to ultimately do damage to my business? Because if I am not believing that I am fully equipped to do this, then that's going to come across. What happens is that you start looking every other direction and thinking, oh, she could do this so much better. Why isn't she doing this? Or, I wish I was as good as she is. Oh, she's such a gifted teacher. I just need to let her do it all or whatever. And you never fully let yourself develop and use the gifts that you have because you're looking around and comparing to all these other people and listening to this self-talk, right? So what happens with comparison? I mean, we've all been guilty of it, right? Where we are trugging along in our business and we kind of look over and we're like, wait, I started the same time as that girl. How come she already has her Lexus? Or that girl started after me and she's already a level 5? Or, how come that team looks like they have so much fun and always get to do everything together, whatever it is, right? So comparison is a thing. There's no getting around that. We've heard a million times comparison is the thief of joy, and we all know that too, but it's still a real thing. There's 2 options with comparisons, okay? Comparison is either going to sabotage your business because you can't get away from, looking left and right, and it's going to sabotage you because you feel disappointed in what you have because all you can do is pay attention to what others have, right? So it's going to sabotage you, or you could kind of flip that around and use it as an encouragement. Okay, I'm going to tell you, I have been exactly in this position. Another girl on our bigger Radiant and Fields team, a sideline sister of mine, we started almost like literally the exact same day. And I started real fast and got a real big team real fast, and she was a real slow start. And, we both, were comparing to each other, not intentionally and not negatively, but it was just kind of like, you only have the people around you to really pay attention to. And so we were kind of in this together. And then she took off. Her team exploded, and here she goes, and she's moving, and she's at Lexus volume. And I'm like, whoa, and the tendency can be to be like, oh, how'd that happen to her? Instead, I really do feel like I've tried to be intentional and being like, whoa, that's awesome. And I can do that. That it's going to encourage me. It's going to spur me on to do that because I look and I'm like, whoa, she can do it. I can do it. If that was her, and I'll call her now and say, okay, when your volume was at this, how much longer did it take you? What should I expect? And so I'm using it like a positive thing to where it makes a huge difference to use her experience as my example, and my encouragement instead of like, pouty little, I didn't get that fast, So you need to remember that you have your post, right? I think Becky says this. You have your post, and that is yours, and you are to man your post. And if you're not manning it, then there's a post left unmanned. That's where you need to be, right? You need to stay in your lane, not looking at everybody else's lanes and how fast they're going. That's only gonna, slow you down, honestly. So stay in your own lane. This is all part of your mindset, right? Because we know that in this business, it is so important to have a mindset that is looking forward, that is encouraging, that is visionary, that is have your eye on the prize. That is so important, and that your mindset really trumps your skill set. Right? What you have going on between your ears is so much more important than your ability to manage PCs and have conversations with people. And because none of those kind of things really happen very well if what's going on between your ears is not positive and is not 100% in, 100% believing, right? And I think that part of this has to do with our fears. What happens between our head and our mindset has to do with our fears. So here's some places I want you guys to dig. This is not something I can say, oh, if you have this fear, this is what you need to do. And if, that's just not the way fears work, because fears are really personal and different for everybody. But the thing that is true about fears is that they do keep us stuck. If you are fearful, if you're struggling with fears in your business and growing as a leader, in leading other people, in talking about the business opportunity, whatever the fears are, if you're struggling with those fears, you're incapable of moving forward. Okay. And so you're stuck. Your business is stuck. Your volume is stuck. Your mindset is stuck. So here's what you need to do. You need to do some digging in there and find out what it is that that is causing fear in you in regards to your business, right? There's a list. I started writing down some things, and it's not very hard for me to figure out what my fear is. It's more hard to change it, to kind of say, okay, this is it. I gotta combat this, right? So, it really affects how fast we're able to move to success. And so I started making a list of what are the fears that could come in this business that are easy to attack us, right? Rejection, failure, incompetence. Gosh, I don't know if I could be a good leader. I don't know if I could really do this. I mean, could that happen to me? I mean, that's a fear for some people, right? Success can be a fear. Kind of I don't know if do you really feel like you deserve this? Do you really feel like this could actually happen for you? That can be a fear. Losing friends, people thinking you're crazy and all you do is talk about skincare all of a sudden, sounding like a salesperson. I mean, there's tons of different things that can cause fear in this business, right? So I want you to dig and figure out what those fears might be for you as you move forward, because that with those fears, there's no positive movement, right? So, okay. I told you it was going to be short and sweet because I really do want y'all to take some time this week in doing a little self-evaluation, okay? We talked about mindset and belief and fears, comparison, self-talk, all these things that can really affect the way we're able to move forward. And hopefully at this stage in your business, you're looking ahead, right? You're level 2, you're level 3, you're level 4, you're moving towards level 5. You're growing a team and you're growing an organization, right? So I love watching how I can see the different ways you guys are using aspects of all of this to grow your business. I mean, I've noticed some of you really just being honest and open and an open book, right? To where it's hey, ask me. I want to tell you. You may think this is nuts. I'm going to tell you why it's not, or really building confidence in who you are and being able to talk and see yourself as a leader now. So this is such a process of development as a person, right? So this week, here's what I want you to do. I want you to come up with a personal development challenge, okay? So this could be, I want to pick a book, whatever book you want, and I want to have it read by the end of August. Let's be generous here. Or let's see, I'm going to really work at working my way through this podcast series, or I'm going to be really intentional at spending 15 minutes every single day listening to training calls. Because, even those kind of things can be personal development, right? Or, I'm going to commit to watching The Daily 4 times a week. Something like that. But come up with a personal development challenge that is applicable to you and the needs that you have in your business, but something that is not necessarily business related, training in that sense, not sitting down and working on your why, but more where someone is going to be speaking positive truths and, you kind of digging through yourself and development. Okay. So come up with a challenge for that. And then also I want you to spend some time thinking about really, really what your fear is with this business that's standing in the way of you moving forward as a leader of your team or as a leader in the business. What are your fears? Because those really affect your mindset, which affect your posture, which affect your business, right? and your leadership. So spend some time thinking about what your fear is, okay? And I want us to be really vulnerable and share that. And also then what you want to do to try to combat that. Okay, so we'll share, and I'm going to do a separate post for that. So, okay, Katie, I think tonight you're doing your salon thing. I got to watch a little bit of it, but then I was finishing up getting ready for this, so I didn't get to watch the whole thing. So I'm going to go back, but I'm so proud of you and that event. And I think that you guys are all doing so great. It's been really fun to watch you guys. Businesses are like taking off. It's really fun. So, okay, I'll put up a homework post and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Okay, love you guys. Bye.